Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to James, Claudia, and Rachel. But I Love My Dad, which is going to be in theaters August 5th, on demand August 12th. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
James, was it natural wearing many hats on this project, or was it still day by day, still kind of overwhelming and a lot?
I've made movies like this for a long time, and it's a way that I like to create. That I love to do. It's fun having so much creative skin in the game, and then to be working with people like Rachel and Claudia was just a dream come true.
Oh, absolutely. Claudia, it's interesting because, social media for a lot of people is a big component of their lives, and sometimes it doesn't feel like we can escape it. And although there's, the father-son kind of theme in this film, there's also kind of the social media component and everything. So I'm just curious, what was it like working on a film where social media is like one of the focal points in a film?
Oh, it was so fun because I felt like I could channel some of my background in the digital world and bring that into imaginary Becca's character, because she is portraying this sort of perfect girl in Franklin's eyes. And so it was really fun being able to kind of play around with that and be aware of it.
100%. Rachel, my question for you is, obviously we're not reinventing the wheel, because I always feel like comedy had a serious undertone. But you look at this film that has a lot of like laugh out loud slapstick moments. But, throughout the film, there's like a lot of the characters are going through a lot, the serious undertones with the father and son dynamic and everything. For you specifically, did you always look at comedy with the lens of there's always kind of the serious undertones and serious kind of life issues involved with it?
Well, for this movie, I did, but in normal, well, not normal, but the other stuff I do, no. I mean, like SNL, you just think of like a sort of a type of person or something you saw, and then even though it might be based in something real that you saw, Debbie Downer is based in like a real incident I had, but then when I'm doing Debbie Downer, I'm not like, what's the underlying? But in this movie, though, because it's sort of more subtly comic, and you have to play the scene. But then sort of I was also always thinking of like on top of sort of observing like what's funny in here.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. No, absolutely. That's so well said. James, I just wanted to know, what was it specifically like working with Patton on this? Because some of those scenes are just amazing. I just wanted to know what that was like specifically.
I mean, Patton is one of the funniest people I've ever met, but he also has a tremendous heart. And so I was often surprised by how committed his performance was. And I would sometimes have to remind myself that I was also directing him, because his performance would bring me so deeply into the story working opposite him.
Oh, absolutely. Claudia, it's interesting because you look at the film, James just said, there was a lot of heart in this film, but it does really have those like slapstick, laugh out loud moments. Did you kind of notice the balance of those two things? Because that is very difficult to do. That's credit to James. Like, that's very hard to do. We're having those really like laugh out loud moments, but it's kind of a lot hard. It hits kind of hard at times too. Did you notice that in the script?
I think you're totally right. And it's one of those things that really came full circle after the final edit, because this film dances on so many lines that I think we knew this could have been a risk, right? And watching James's final edit, I think brought everything into picture, and it really allowed for those subtle funny moments to shine, and it really allowed for those larger laughs to have their moment, right? So
absolutely. Rachel, last question quickly. When they get to watch this film, takeaway wise, what are you hoping they get out of it specifically with I Love My Dad?
Well, so we got to see the film in a crowded movie theater at the South by Southwest Festival, and it was really fun to have that communal experience. Like, I hadn't been in a movie theater in a really long time, so I don't know if you can see it in the theater. Like, the whole walking the line or the cringe and the laughs is fun to experience that in a crowd. I mean, I think there's like the laugh factor and the relationships factor of like, maybe riffs that could be repaired. And then also there's a very topical element to it, because we live in this world where catfishing exists and someone's online profile might not be who they really are. So it feels like very of the moment too.
Absolutely. In theaters starting August 5th, then on demand on the 12th. Thank you all for your time. It was so great chatting with you.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.